This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news. It's Monday, June 2nd, 2025, and here are today's stories. It's a UNN exclusive you won't see anywhere else. Dr. Robert O. Young speaks out for the first time since his sentencing in a rare behind-bars interview. He shares his perspective on the fight for medical freedom, challenges to the medical establishment, and the high-stakes battle his case ignites for anyone daring to challenge conventional medicine. Despite a nationwide ban, caning still happens in Ugandan schools. Field Messenger Diane investigates why this harmful practice continues. CAT scans save lives, but repeated radiation exposure could be risky, especially for young people. We explore the growing concerns. Atrazine helps farmers fight weeds, but some say it's harming our water and health. We break down both sides of this heated debate. Feeling tired and foggy? Iron deficiency might be the cause. Learn how to spot the signs and boost your energy. For over a decade, Dorothy has studied cannabis terpenes. She shares how this plant's healing potential is changing lives. And in Bulgaria, a 1959 submarine has become a popular museum. Monica takes us inside its fascinating transformation. Today on UNN, we bring you an exclusive inside look at one of the most controversial and politically charged health freedom cases in America. Dr. Robert O. Young, a prominent naturopathic practitioner, researcher, and author, has been both celebrated and condemned over the past 3 decades. He rose to international attention for his theories on cellular health, pH balance, and what he calls the new biology, a natural health framework that challenges the pharmaceutical and allopathic medical establishments. Young's work has earned him invitations to speak at the highest levels, including the White House in 2011, where he met with then-President Obama to discuss the potential integration of his protocols into the Affordable Care Act. But his critics, and now prosecutors, say he crossed a line. In February 2025, Dr. Young was convicted in San Diego County on multiple counts of practicing medicine without a license. UNN was inside the courtroom last Wednesday as Dr. Young was sentenced to 5 years, 8 months in state prison, a ruling his supporters call a weaponized attack on health freedom and medical choice. At the center of this case is an 84-year-old longtime friend and client of Dr. Young, a woman who voluntarily sought his holistic treatments for liver and other chronic health conditions. Treatments including raw food nutrition, infrared therapy, and detox regimes. During the sentencing, prosecutors characterized these treatments as elder abuse, arguing Dr. Young needed to be put behind bars to prevent him from preying on other people. In a surprising twist to this case is the identity of the accuser's daughter, Jane Clayson, a well-known American journalist and former co-anchor of the CBS Early Show. Once a vocal supporter of Dr. Young, Clayson previously featured him in a positive light during a segment on the CBS Early Show, praising his unconventional approach to health and nutrition. She even wrote the foreword for one of his books.
Many books and experts offer advice these days on how to achieve better health through diet. But a new book called The pH Miracle takes a unique approach to nutrition, teaching people how to eat in a way that balances their body chemistry. It was written by Dr. Robert Young, a microbiologist and a nutritionist, and his wife, Shelley Redford Young, who is a chef. Robert and Shelley, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
I should say, first off, tell everyone that I actually wrote the foreword for your book. You asked me to do that.
Thank you so much.
We met about 10 years ago when you first started this plan. So tell me first off, tell everyone, what is the pH miracle? What does that mean?
Well, the pH miracle is about changing lives and saving lives. It's a revolutionary scientific medical approach, a new idea, a new theory about how to, well, the theory is one sickness, one disease, one treatment, which is revolutionary, that disease is an expression of states of imbalance, that how we feel really has to do a lot about balancing our internal terrain.
So what is the pH then in your system? What role does it play in good health?
So what changed? That's the question Dr. Young's supporters say is critical to understanding this case. Here's what we know about the accuser's daughter, Jane Clayson. She was born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and graduated from Brigham Young University in 1990 with a degree in broadcast journalism. She later received an honorary doctorate from Utah State University. During her career in journalism, she earned numerous prestigious awards and covered some of the most significant news events of our time, including the O.J. Simpson trial, the crash of TWA Flight 800, and the September 11th terrorist attacks, which she co-anchored live from New York City. Clayson is married to Mark Johnson, a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, Columbia University, and Harvard Business School. Together, they are both active members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Raised in a devout LDS family, Clayson has consistently embraced her faith, often weaving her beliefs into her professional and public work. She was featured in the church's I'm a Mormon campaign, where she shared her journey balancing faith, family, and a high-profile career. Her sister, Hannah Clayson Smith, is also a devoted Latter-day Saint and highly respected attorney. Hannah has served as a law clerk for 2 U.S. Supreme Court justices and is widely known for her advocacy in religious liberty and constitutional law. Jane Clayson's mother, the accuser in his most recent court case, never took the stand during the trial, nor did she appear at sentencing. According to Clayson, her mother couldn't testify in person, and doing so remotely would have been, quote, detrimental to her health. That meant Dr. Young never had a chance to face his accuser, a basic constitutional right his supporters say was fundamentally denied. And there's more. During the case, the accuser's other daughter, Hannah, sent a text message to the prosecution revealing their mother had failed a psychological exam back in 2022. However, court records show this information was excluded from trial. Dr. Young's supporters say this exclusion constitutes a Brady violation, meaning potentially exculpatory evidence was withheld and could be grounds for a mistrial. Dr. Young's case has made national headlines, drawing fierce reactions from both critics and supporters. Prosecutors painted him as a dangerous fraud. His supporters say he's a targeted pioneer, punished for challenging the medical establishment. Now, in a United Network News exclusive, we hear directly from Dr. Young for the first time since his sentencing. From behind bars, he shares his perspective on the case, the charges against him, and why he believes this is about more than just one man. It's about medical freedom, censorship, and the future of alternative health in America. Here's a portion of our in-depth interview with Dr. Young. You can watch the full conversation right now on our website and through the United Network app. Dr. Young, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and and especially with someone so sunny.
For people who aren't familiar with you, I just want to tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do. So I know you're committed to helping people, and we've heard of the pH miracle, but in your own words, if someone were to come up to you and say, Dr. Young, how are you helping humanity? What would you say?
The first thing that comes to me is Mahatma Gandhi's quote, and that is, "You must be the change you want to see." And if you're dealing with a health challenge, you must be the health or the fitness you want to see. It is a personal thing. You have to take personal responsibility for your action, your thoughts, your words, your deeds. And that really what develops your character, what develops your personality. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings, it's development of beliefs, and then your attitudes and values and your personality. And so, you really have to think about this and really internalize it, because you are who you are inside out. And so flipping your life really is a personal thing. And so I love those words of Gandhi. You must be the cure. You must be change. You must be the health you want to be. I believe in education, not medication. I believe in education, not vaccination. That we have all the chemistry within us to really acquire a high level of health and well-being. If we start managing our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, and we take that as a personal goal, that if we want to be strong, we want to be fit, we want to be brave, we want to be courageous, we want to be spiritual, we want to be whatever that is, that goal has to begin with you. You have to take personal responsibility for the quality and the quantity of your life. And so the key is education. And I love the words of Moses. Well, actually, it was Hosea, who said, "My people perish because of ignorance." It started in 1933 with Theodore Roosevelt when he initiated the warfare. The military law. And that's the system that we're currently under. We're under a military system. And yes, all courts are practicing lawfare. And in fact, because of that enactment of a wartime declaration in 1933 by President Roosevelt, we have been under that dictate since. And so our constitutional rights under the Fifth Amendment, and also on our state California rights under Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, have been trampled all over. So there is not something where justice is blind in this country, where justice is blind in the state of California. There is lawfare going on throughout this country. And I know the people at the highest levels are aware of this, and they're working on it, and they're trying to do something about it. I was asking for them to judge me based on civilian due process, not on a military due process enacted in 1933. And if that was the case, I would not be incarcerated, because my crimes are not violent. In fact, they're not even crimes in and of themselves. They're a right under the amendment to be able to choose care. And for the person who is the so-called victim, she was always choosing her care. There was never any restrictions. She went to whatever doctor, to whatever, treatments or what have you. I was not involved in that process. I was a friend, 45-year-old friend to her. That if the cell is sick, if the lung is sick, if the liver is sick, you don't treat the liver, you don't treat the lungs. It's an environmental probe. It relates to internal cleanliness and what water you're drinking, what foods you're eating, what air you're breathing. And these are the things that are under attack. We have polluted water. Bobby's already stated that. We have polluted soil, and we have polluted air. We clean that up, you'll watch chronic disease come down immediately. I would like to say heartfelt with how much gratitude and love that I feel from their support, and especially from their prayers. I am not a rich man. as it relates to things of this world. I am a blessed, rich man because of people that extend their prayers and their love towards me. And I am so grateful for that. People like yourself, Sonny. Thank you so much. I am so grateful. And I pray that everyone that's listening to my voice will empower themselves to educate themselves against what is coming on and stand up for the truth.
Physical punishment, like caning, has been banned in Ugandan schools since 2016. However, some schools still continue with this outdated practice. UNN Field Messenger Diane looks into this issue.
This is Diane, Field Messenger for United Network News, coming to you from eastern Uganda. When your child comes home to tell you that their bottom is sore and you ask why, you do not expect to hear that for 2 days in a row they have had a caning at school. My concern was so great that I had to go down to the school to speak to the headmaster. At this stage, I did not know the laws in Uganda on such matters. I confronted the headmaster, telling him that no one had the right to hit my child with a stick. That punishment is the responsibility of myself, the parent, letting him know that I did not give permission or consent for him or his staff to carry out this act against my child. Not happy there, I visited the Human Rights Office. It is there that I learned that caning and other forms of corporal punishment in Ugandan schools has been illegal since 2016, according to the Children's Act, which was amended in March 2016. Corporal punishment means punishment in which physical force is intentionally used to cause pain or injury to a child and includes punishment. I was advised by the Human Rights Office to pay a visit to the City Education Officer's office, whose job it was to visit schools in the area to make sure that such acts of corporal punishment are not performed. On reaching the City Educational Office, a formal complaint was made. Since then, the children have not come home with sore bottoms, and as far as they know, no caning of other students has taken place. Very grateful for the supervisory officers that are available in these areas, who do indeed give advice and then do take action from any complaints that are made. This has been Diane for United Network News. Thank you for watching.
CAT scans, or computed tomography scans, are widely used in modern medicine for their ability to quickly and clearly capture detailed images of the body's bones, organs, blood vessels, and soft tissues. They've revolutionized diagnosis and treatment planning, especially in emergencies. But a growing body of research is raising questions about the safety of repeated exposure to the radiation involved, especially when it comes to children and young adults.
When it comes to medical imaging, not all scans are created equal, especially scans that expose you to radiation. CAT scans, for example, use much more radiation than a standard X-ray. To put it in perspective, one CAT scan can deliver the same amount of radiation as 100 to 500 chest X-rays, depending on the part of the body being scanned and the specific machine used. Also, studies have found the amount of radiation can vary wildly between one facility to another by as much as 50 times. That's a pretty big jump. And while CAT scans are incredibly helpful for diagnosing everything from internal injuries to cancers, there's a growing concern about the potential long-term risks, especially if someone gets multiple scans over time.
Do not get a CT scan or any imaging study without asking, how much radiation am I seeing? And if a person can't tell you how many millisieverts of radiation you're being exposed to, then just say, I'm going to wait a minute until somebody can tell me that.
I realize.
And keep in mind, 50, if 50 is the most you should ever be exposed to in a year, there better be a damn good reason why I'm going to get 25 in a day. Now, there are some people who have to do this. If you're a cancer patient and they're scanning you as a part of your treatment, I mean, you have to pick and choose between those two opportunities. So I also don't want to create some fear mongering where, oh my God, if you hit 50 in a year, you're hosed. No, it's just, I wouldn't want to hit 50 a year every year for my whole life. And I certainly wouldn't want to be hitting hundreds a year for any period of time.
CAT scans are being used more than ever these days, not just in the U.S., but all over the world. A report from 2021 estimates around 375 million CAT scans are done globally each year, and that number keeps growing by about 3 to 4% annually. So what's behind this rise? Well, for starters, people are living longer, and with age comes a higher chance of health issues like heart disease, cancer, and neurological problems, all things that often require imaging. On top of that, more people are living with chronic conditions that need ongoing monitoring. Then there's the technology itself. CAT scanners have come a long way. They're faster, easier to get, and produce much more detailed images than they used to. That alone makes them a go-to tool for a lot of healthcare providers. And let's not forget the patients. People are more involved in their health these days, and many are asking for more thorough testing, which naturally leads to more scans. And if those scans start at an early age, the risk adds up over time.
This study shows that children who had 4 or more CAT scans before the age of 18 had a higher chance of cancer before they hit the age of 25. Why is that? So when we're doing these scans, we are using what's called ionizing radiation, and unfortunately that radiation can damage the DNA in our cells. If it's a little bit of damage, we have DNA repair mechanisms that can overcome that, but apparently if there's enough cumulative damage, some of those mutations can evolve into cancers. Now, the information that we get from these scans is invaluable to us in making a diagnosis or determining treatment, following up treatment, but it's not unreasonable for you as a patient to have a conversation with your provider around whether that radiation exposure can somehow be reduced. That might mean an X-ray instead of a CAT scan or a longer interval between CAT scans. It might mean an MRI, which doesn't have ionizing radiation.
Also, keep in mind, we're exposed to small amounts of radiation every day from all kinds of common sources. This includes everyday technology like TVs, smartphones, and microwaves. Even preventative tools like mammograms or X-rays like the kind you get at the dentist add to your overall exposure. So while experts say CAT scans are generally safe when used appropriately, it's important to look at the big picture. All of these small doses of radiation can eventually have a big impact. If you're concerned about radiation exposure from CAT scans, the first step is to talk openly with your doctor. Ask if the scan is really necessary and whether there are other options that don't use radiation, like MRI or ultrasound, that could work instead. If a CAT scan is needed, don't hesitate to ask about the lowest possible radiation dose that can be used for your situation. Also, keep a record of your imaging history so you and your healthcare providers can avoid unnecessary repeat scans. Remember, being informed and asking questions helps you make the safest choices for your health.
Hi everyone, this is Leanne.
And I'm Jerry.
Coming to you from Tamworth, New South Wales.
Hi there, this is Rick from Arizona.
My name is Uchechukwu Owenebam from Igbo tribe, Nigeria.
Hi, this is Scott from Utah.
I'm Annette from Agassiz, British Columbia.
Hi, I'm Marcus Surzet from Manipur State, India.
Real people reporting real stories from all around the world. That's what United Network News is all about.
Can you clap?
We had a huge flood, which some call the flood of the century.
No fake news here. Our field messengers share personal experiences of what's really happening in their community.
We got some nice fish right here.
At UNN, you are the news.
My family and I had a very good time.
Take the next step. Become a UNN field messenger and share the real news with the world.
In the northwest province of South Africa, I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News, and if it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's going to be, it's up to me. If it is going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to us. Field Messages, United Network News. See you next time.
Step into a world of possibilities with New Earth, a groundbreaking series that shines light on holistic ways to live, work, and thrive. Join us weekly to discover new innovative ideas and explore the world around us as we, together, create our future, our New Earth.
Atrazine might not be a word you hear often, but it's a herbicide that's been a big deal in farming for decades, helping to control weeds and boost crop yields. While farmers swear by its effectiveness, it's also caused a lot of debate over its impact on the environment and health, especially when it contaminates water. Some people think it's a lifesaver for farming, while others see it as a problem we need to solve. According to the U.S. Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, atrazine is used on crops like corn, sugarcane, and pineapples, as well as on evergreen tree farms and forest regrowth. It's also sprayed to prevent weeds along highways, railroads, and croplands before or after planting. Atrazine can end up in the air, waterways, or deeper soil layers after it's applied, and it typically breaks down in the soil within one growing season, though it can last for years in some cases. Plants absorb it to kill weeds, but any atrazine that washes into streams or groundwater tends to stick around for a long time. Its breakdown in rivers, lakes, and groundwater is pretty slow.
This particular toxin, it's a pesticide. It's called atrazine, and it's just one, again, of the thousands of these toxins. It's sprayed on many different types of crops, for example, corn. And when the atrazine is sprayed in the corn, it goes onto the ground, and then when it rains, that atrazine on the ground runs into your drinking water. It's everywhere in the United States. 70 million pounds per year are used of this. And see that picture there? That's a frog. That frog went from a male to a female because of 200 parts per million being exposed to atrazine in its water. 200 parts per million. The government, the United States government, allows 3,000 parts per million in our drinking water. That ain't good.
That might sound like a lot already, but here's where it gets even more concerning. Research shows atrazine can be linked to serious health problems. However, in late 2024, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, proposed to raise the allowable levels of atrazine in water to 9.7 parts per billion, which is almost 3 times higher than the 3.4 parts per billion limit, which was set in 2016. Environmental advocates are upset, saying this move prioritizes industry interests over public health and years of work to reduce atrazine's impact. Even though the chemical has been banned in other countries, the EPA claims the new standard is based on recent evaluations and poses no significant health risks.
Did you know that atrazine, one of the most widely used herbicides in the world, is banned in over 35 countries, including the entire European Union? It's still heavily used in countries like the United States, Canada, and Australia, primarily on crops like corn and sugarcane. The reason it's banned elsewhere: atrazine is notorious for contaminating water supplies. Studies have shown it can remain in the environment for years, affecting both humans and wildlife. Shockingly, research has linked atrazine exposure to hormone disruption, developmental issues, and even cancer. In animals, it's been shown to chemically castrate male frogs, turning some into females. Despite these alarming findings, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency continues to allow its use, arguing that it's safe when used as directed. But at what cost? While countries like France have banned atrazine to protect their water and citizens, millions of people in other nations are still exposed through their drinking water. This is one of those hidden dangers that makes you question what else we're not being told about the chemicals in our food and environment.
Atrazine has faced several lawsuits over its impact on health and the environment. In 2012, Syngenta, the primary manufacturer of atrazine, paid $105 million to settle claims from U.S. water utilities after claims the chemical contaminated drinking water and endangered pregnant women. In 2020, advocacy groups sued the EPA for reapproving atrazine, arguing it posed risks to public health and water supplies. In 2016, California added atrazine to its Prop 65 list of toxic chemicals for its developmental and reproductive toxicity. Atrazine is harmful, but you can take simple steps to reduce exposure. Use a certified water filter to remove atrazine from drinking water, and choose organic produce, especially corn, to avoid crops treated with harmful chemicals. For affordable options, try organic frozen fruits and veggies, or shop seasonal produce at local farmers markets. Iron deficiency is one of the most common nutritional problems worldwide, and it can really take a toll on your energy levels. Ever feel constantly tired, weak, or just out of it? Low iron might be to blame. The good news is it's usually manageable with a few tweaks to your diet or by taking supplements. Iron deficiency isn't just about feeling sluggish. Studies show it can have serious consequences at any age. For example, during pregnancy, low iron can affect a baby's brain development and increase risks like low birth weight, preterm birth, or even maternal complications. For little ones like babies and toddlers, not having enough iron can mess with their long-term development, leading to delays in motor skills, cognitive abilities, and even social challenges. And in adults, iron deficiency is a big cause of disability worldwide. And in extreme cases, it can even become life-threatening. So why does this happen? Well, while our bodies do store some iron for emergencies, we burn through those reserves quickly, especially when making new red blood cells. Iron deficiency often stems from diet. Vegans and vegetarians, for instance, might eat lots of iron-rich foods like spinach or beans, but still fall short because plant-based iron isn't absorbed as easily. Women are also at higher risk due to blood loss during menstruation, which makes the need for iron even greater.
Don't ignore these symptoms. Number one is pica, or the craving of a non-food item. The number one thing that people crave when they have this is to chew on ice. Number two is restless leg syndrome, or the urge to move your legs around a lot, especially when you're sleeping. And number three is a spoon-shaped or very brittle nail. Number four are weird tongue changes like burning or swelling or even smoothness. And number five is increased depression and anxiety without a trigger. All of these symptoms could be a sign that you're suffering from an iron deficiency. And whether this is because you're not eating enough iron in your diet or you're having an absorption issue in your gut, we need to figure it out so that you can start feeling better.
Sometimes low iron isn't the whole story. For example, treating iron deficiency without looking at copper deficiency can mean missing the real issue. Copper and iron are like a tag team. Iron carries oxygen, but copper activates it and helps the body use it properly. Without enough copper, iron remains stored in tissues, and this is what causes anemia. That's why addressing copper deficiency is essential. Adding copper-rich foods like beef liver, oysters, shiitake mushrooms, cacao, citrus fruits, or even chlorophyll to your diet can help your body balance both copper and iron. Of course, this is just one piece of the puzzle. It's always best to look at your overall health holistically.
Okay, so you're iron deficient. You came back, your ferritin was low. You started taking iron, and your ferritin's still low. You start taking more iron, your ferritin's still low. Is the thing you need to do continue just to pound your body full of iron? Probably not. Sure, you need iron, but you probably also need something else. Either you need to look at your absorption of iron, you need to look at your inflammation, you need to look at hormone balance, you need to look at vitamin D levels, consider, copper, magnesium, B vitamins. There's a bunch of other nutrients that all interact to support iron absorption, iron utilization, and just the balance of iron in the body, and even red blood cell creation. So I find it kind of traumatizing when I hear that people have low iron and their goal is just to take more iron, 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams. Let's just keep pounding the body full of iron. Nothing in the body works by itself.
When iron levels dip too low, it can lead to anemia. This happens when your body can't make enough red blood cells or hemoglobin, which are essential for carrying oxygen in your blood. According to the World Health Organization, about half of all anemia cases are caused by iron deficiency. For adults, this can mean fatigue, weakness, or shortness of breath. Babies and young kids might experience restless sleep or frequent waking at night. While low iron doesn't always mean you have anemia, untreated iron deficiency can lead to it. A quick blood test can confirm if iron deficiency or anemia is the issue.
On a recent mission trip to Honduras, I was reminded of this one little trick I do to check for anemia when I can't order a lab. I pull the patient's eyelid down and look inside. This eye is healthy with lots of red on the inside. This patient is very anemic and her inner eyelid is white. In Honduras, I didn't have IV iron. I prescribed red meat and liver to fix the problem.
Balancing iron is key to boosting your energy and staying healthy. It's all about finding the right mix that works for you.
For the past decade, UNN Field Messenger Dorothy has explored the healing power of Cannabis terpenes. She shares her story to inform, inspire, and reduce fear around this plant's potential to heal and transform lives.
Hi, I'm Field Messenger Dorothy reporting for United Network News in Red Lodge, Montana. And today I wanted to share with you a healing journey that I've been on for the past 10 years that includes phytotherapy and the terpenes in the cannabis plant. So my journey started 10 years ago when I had to retire because I had osteoarthritis. And along with that, I was depressed, I was overweight, I had high blood pressure, and I was always anxious. So I decided to try therapy through trial and error. And when I found a really knowledgeable bud tender at our local cannabis shop, I learned that I could monitor, that I could relieve these symptoms, and that I might even be able to heal some of these issues I've been having. So I wanted to introduce you today to the healing properties of the cannabis plant, and it's considered nature's most perfect plant. It's been around for thousands of years. It's been used as a whole plant, broken down into pieces, but as with any kind of phytotherapy, the more whole the plant is, the greater the benefits are. So I want to introduce you to my friend Tressa. She's the owner and proprietor of Beartooth Medicinals in Red Lodge, Montana, and she's a cannabis consultant. Works with anyone that comes in for no charge who would like to learn more about CBD and the THC benefits that you can find in cannabis plant. So send it over to Tressa.
Tressa, tell us a little bit about what you do and the product that you sell that's really nature's perfect healer.
We've been growing cannabis in living soil. Now that we can test our cannabis, we know exactly the type of terpenes that are in there. Most of my clients on the medicinal level are looking for, the number one is pain, inflammation. Sleeping is also a really huge. Another one that's really popular, arthritis, neuropathy, all of that stuff that has to do with any type of pain is what cannabis is really known for. People also are looking for it like a mood enhancer. People who are feeling, depressed, have anxiety, cannabis can really help them. You just have to understand the terpenes. If they have like a deep nerve pain, like sciatica, okay, to get a topical, a pain cream to actually penetrate all the way through, it's very difficult. You can relax those muscles around it, but you're not going to do anything for that nerve because it's just not going to go deep enough. So then you have to get them comfortable on maybe, okay, I don't want to smoke it, but ingest it. So have a gummy or a caramel, That seems to be very successful for a lot of people. The problem with doing like a straight CBD is that really helps with anti-inflammatory, a lot of digestive problems. It's great for mood, but it doesn't help a lot of people get that deep sleep that they're always looking for. And I am amazed on how many of my older clients that were so against cannabis are now at least doing, if not just CBD, but they're now graduating to a 1-to-1 and getting a much better sleep.
I'm Field Messenger Dorothy, reporting for United Network News. Thanks for joining me on this journey.
A submarine from 1959 has been transformed into one of Bulgaria's most popular museums. UNN Field Messenger Monica investigates its remarkable history and takes us on an exclusive tour.
Hello, I'm Field Messenger Monica from Romania. This time I'm reporting for UNN from Bulgaria, Romania's neighboring country. Beloslav is a small town close to the city of Varna on Bulgaria's northern Black Sea coast. Yet it is here, in this quiet little town, that the last Bulgarian submarine, Slava, meaning glory, is anchored. The submarine was built in 1959 in the Soviet Union under the Project 633 class, also known by its NATO reporting name as the Romeo class. Is a class of Soviet diesel-electric submarine built between 1957 and 1961. In 1985, the submarine was handed over to the Bulgarian Navy. The submarine's last navigation was in 2010, and now it has been turned into one of the most popular museums in Bulgaria. Visitors can explore its preserved interiors, including the command bridge, engine room, and torpedo section. There were 6 torpedo tubes in the front and 2 in the back, but it was capable of carrying up to 14 torpedoes. The boat is enormous. It measured a staggering 76 meters in length and was equipped with 2 diesel and 2 electric engines. It was capable of zipping across the surface at 15 knots and diving at 13 knots. It could dive to a depth of 300 meters and operate for 2 months at sea. It had a crew of 60. The museum showcases fascinating artifacts and stories about submarine life from navigation to crew duties. The analog systems with all their valves and bolts can also be seen here. Every member of the crew had to know how they worked because the slightest mistake could cost everyone's life. As I descended into the belly of the submarine, I began to realize what it was like to live a life of iron discipline, sharing the air with 60 other people when there was no room for mistakes. The narrow corridors and cramped quarters spoke of a life lived beneath the waves, a life of duty and sacrifice. It was a humbling experience, one that left me with a profound appreciation for the sacrifices made by those who serve. The submarine is a testament to the resilience of a human spirit. Thank you for watching. Bye.
UNN is changing the face of news. Join us for our weekly Field Messenger meetings and learn how you can make a difference. Visit unitednetwork.earth for more information. Thanks for watching.